Good morning, everyone. This is Gail Dudley with your News in Motion. Well, welcome to October. Today is October the 1st. Today is Thursday, October the 1st. I love the fall. This is my most favorite time of the year, so I am excited to welcome fall. So I'm so excited. As you could possibly tell, good morning, Kim. Good morning, Oscar. As you can tell, I'm more refreshed today than I was yesterday. Just been able to work through some more things. Good morning, sis. Good morning, Latrice Jones. So I'm excited now. I hope you have your laptop or your smartphone, your iPad, whatever, your tablet, whatever, because after I go through a few headlines, we're going to talk about content this morning. We're going to be talking about voter mobilization. We're going to be talking about voter mobilization. So I'm going to get everything in. I also found that today is, or this month is the National Dessert Month. Who knew? So get your dessert, I guess. Is that what we want to say? Get your dessert every day. So yeah, today is kicks off National Dessert Month. So hey, look, Pastor Beverly Woodard jumped on here. Don't eat too much dessert. Good morning, Pastor Alex Williams. Good morning, Marion. Good morning, everyone. Okay, y'all, I'm going to give a few headlines, and then I'm going to give you content. We're talking voter mobilization. I'm going to give you some real stuff, some statistics. We got to go all in. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I know y'all can tell I'm refreshed today, right? I actually slept for about 10 hours, so I'm up. All right, October the 1st, here are the headlines. Y'all, the director of the CDC, we know him as Redfield, he was overheard on the phone on the airplane aboard a commercial flight saying that lead member of Donald Trump's coronavirus task force have been spreading misinformation about the pandemic. Good morning, Deborah. Robert Redfield was overheard by an employee of NBC News. Man, you better watch who you sitting with on the plane or in the restaurant or wherever, because somebody could be from the news. It could be a journalist, and they're taking notes. On a flight from Atlanta to Washington, according to NBC, Redfield criticized Scott Atlas, a radiologist and Fox News talking head, added to the task force last month. And this is what Redfield said, and I quote, "Everything he says is false." Well, there's that. So here's the head of the CDC talking about a member that was just recently added to the White House task force on the coronavirus, and he says everything he says is false. And of course, a journalist picks this up. And then when asked about it, he confirmed that he was talking about Atlas. Well, there you have it. So that's happening. So let me give you the coronavirus numbers. In the U.S., y'all know I go to the World Health Organization. There are 7,444,273 confirmed cases. There are 211,738 deaths. Oh, that number alone just... There are 4,699,380 that have recovered. So let's celebrate that. Oh yeah, okay. So it's Pastor Appreciation Month. See, I didn't even know that. So it's Pastor Appreciation Month. Thank you, Beverly. I want to keep calling you Dr. Beverly Woodard. Just go ahead and receive it. It's never too late. Dr. Beverly Woodard. So it's Pastor Appreciation Month. So let's show appreciation to the pastors and ministry leaders in our lives. All right, y'all. CNN reports that with 646 COVID-19 related hospitalizations Wednesday in Wisconsin, that's leaving them only 18% of hospital beds still available. The White House task force warned the officials of Wisconsin just days ago that this was going to happen. So we have that. Y'all, in Clayton County, again, I'm just going through the headlines before I jump to the webinar-like piece I'm going to give you in a few moments. Clayton County, Georgia. Y'all, there was an officer using the N-word. They looked into his record. He had already been fired twice since 2010 for doing the same thing. He faces a third termination after officials said he used the N-word against a Clayton County jail inmate. So that is still going on. All right, y'all, in Kentucky, as you know, yesterday we were supposed to have the recordings released from the grand jury. The judge had ordered AG Daniel Cameron to release those recordings. He didn't do it. He did not do it. So here's my question. Where are you hiding? So the judge said he has until noon on Friday. So let the showdown begin. Let's see what's going to happen. And no, since we're talking about black men in high places who are GOPs, and I'm not hating on anybody who's a GOP, but let's just talk about it. We have Senator Tim Scott, the only black GOP senator who tried to give the occupant of the Oval an excuse as to why he mentioned the Proud Boys. Talking about, I think he just misspoke. Well, after being pressed, he's come back out and said, but if he doesn't correct it, I guess he didn't misspeak. Come on now, come on. Let's call a spade a spade. All right, y'all, and Blavity News reports. Now get this. Now this is serious. Get this. When I saw this come through on my media releases yesterday, I was shocked. Get this, y'all. A black Texas college student, freshman, by the way, 17 years old, by the way, wakes up to cops, at least a dozen, hear me, y'all, with guns drawn after white roommates prank her with a 911 call. Now, how dangerous can that be? 17-year-old freshman was the target of a dangerous prank known as swatting, which is the act of falsely reporting that someone is about to commit a crime. The 911 call went something like this. My roommate has scissors and trying to stab and kill us while we sleep. So at 3 a.m., this 17-year-old awakes to about a dozen white cops with guns drawn on her. When I read that, I immediately thought of Breonna Taylor, but she didn't even have the opportunity to wake up. They shot her while she was sleeping. So the school came out and said they were looking into it, but the police officers, thank God, the police officer said this was a prank call, and this is dangerous, and that needs to stop. So y'all, that is happening. That is happening. So now we need to pray for that 17-year-old. I believe her name is Christina. We need to pray for that 17-year-old because that's her freshman year. She had only been in school for a week. Only for a week. So y'all, we need to pray for her. We need to pray for her emotions, her mental ability, just everything. We need to cover her in prayer. All right, y'all, AP reports. You know, the ballots that the occupant was talking about during the debate, that all these ballots were in the trash can. There were 9. There were 9, and Pennsylvania has come out. The election official chief has stated we have temporaries in the office. Military envelopes come in at times in a different envelope. They were taught to look for only a certain envelope. So the temp, mistakenly put them in the trash, but the trash doesn't go out to a dumpster. The trash then goes to someone else to look through it. They said they're still investigating, but it was a total of 9. There's not a dumpster full of ballots with his name on it. And yes, they did have his name on it, but it was in a different envelope. The temp has already apologized several times, even before the occupant said what he said at the debate. So there's that. All right, y'all ready for this? Voter mobilization. Excuse me. Here's a website I want you to check out at some point today. It's called www.turnoutnation.org. www.turnoutnation.org. And let me just give you a little background of who they are. They're trying to turn out the vote. And a part of that is they're trying to get people who are willing to be captains within your community, within your neighborhood, just to make sure that people within that community are registered to vote. Good morning, Sister Brenda Troy. How are you? So start thinking about that. So it's www.turnoutnation.org. turnoutnation.org. So, y'all, there are 3 types of people. I'm telling you, I'm giving y'all a free webinar, so take what you want from it. There are 3 types of people. There are voters. And within the voters, there are people like us, and there are people who are voting one way, and there are people who will be voting opposite from us. There are peace seekers, and there are also cynics. All right, and this information also comes from ASO Communications. I thought, why duplicate it? I just asked them, could I use some of it? And I made some changes, and they're aware of it. So this is what I'm giving you. So this is from, again, ASO Communications. Okay, voters, all of us. So this is the first group I want to talk about, is all of us. Now, these are voters who we already know how we're going to vote. We're really just trying to motivate other people to vote. We're getting them to get out there and vote. We're having the same conversation. I'll use a phrase, we're preaching to the choir, so to speak. Then you have those who are voting opposite from us. We get into a conversation with them and we find out, oh, they don't see the same thing I see. Well, the thing that you cannot do is berate them with how you feel, what you think, and they're wrong. That's the worst thing you can do. I shared with you a few weeks ago, we have to tell our story. Listen, y'all, nobody can argue your story. For example, this weekend I was on a Zoom call with 8 other people, and I was the only person that looked like me, and I was the only person voting like I'm voting. Imagine that. So during this Zoom call, during this conversation, I've learned to just listen, to hear them, to see where they're coming from, not to get in an argument with them, nothing like that. And I'm going to get myself in trouble because I know right now I did not call Brenda Troy, so just don't even call me afterwards, just forgive me. So on Friday, so I'm listening to all of this. So it's time for me to tell my story. So I began to tell my story. And what we want to do is tell our story in a way that they will listen. So I said, okay, I hear you. I said, now I disagree with you, because it needed to be clear that I disagree with them. I said, I disagree with you. I said, and I disagree with you because I am an African-American female. I'm a black woman with a black son, a black husband, a black nephews, a black father, black brothers, black male friends. I said, so just hear me for a moment while I share this with you. So I started my conversation. I said, so for example, I have an 84-year-old father. I said, now we had already been talking about removing his keys. We've already been talking about, as the siblings, to remove his keys. We didn't do it yet. So on Friday morning, and the story's out now to some people. So again, Brenda, I don't want to hear from you. So on Friday, my father didn't eat. He's a diabetic. He didn't eat. He just had to go to the store. He didn't want to call us. He didn't want to wait for us. He just had to do what he needed to do right then. He's 84 years old. So I'm telling this story to this group of people. None of them look like me. None of them are voting like me. I said, so where he had to travel to, he travels through a very wealthy neighborhood. And I said, and he noticed that something ain't right. But before he knew it, he had slammed into the back of a COTA bus. I don't know how he went. That's our transportation in Columbus. I don't know how he got into reverse. He somehow got into reverse, went up on the sidewalk, went into a light, the lamp pole. The lamp pole fell on top of the car. He is okay. I'm telling y'all, he's okay. So I was telling them, I said, so by the time he doesn't have a cell phone either, let me put that in there. He refuses to have a cell phone. He refuses. He thinks they're idiots. He refuses that. So there were people who saw it happen. They stopped. When they stopped, they were all Caucasian people. They were talking to him. The ambulance was called. They was bringing him around. And he said, and my father kept on saying, they were all nice, y'all. They were all nice. I'm telling my story. And I said, now here's this. If he would have been anywhere else in Columbus, I would have been petrified. I said, because here's a black man, and of course they checked to make sure that he was not drunk. They checked everything else about him, but they realized that he did not fit their profile. So something else happened. So I told them the story, and everyone, I could see on Zoom that everyone started to relax like, oh. I said, so that's on the ballot for me. That's what I'm afraid of. I said, what if that was my son? What if that was my husband? What if that was my brother in another neighborhood? I said, in this case, the neighborhood he was in had Biden-Harris's sign all over their lines, and had Black Lives Matter, and had anything else supporting the cause and supporting the movement. I said, people called my mom, because my dad remembered, the phone number that he's had for I don't know how many years, called my mom. My mom called all of us. And then we did what we needed to do as siblings, and then we were like, keys, but we don't have to worry about the keys because the car is totaled. But we was like, come on, no, we're not replacing this. This is it. This is it. Now, y'all pray for me. And I'm talking to y'all now. Y'all pray for me, because now we're on deck, and already I'm doing grocery store tomorrow with him. Ooh, it's going to be interesting. So y'all pray for me. But I had to tell my story to this group of people. That's how you interchange with people who are voting opposite from you. You don't want to berate them. You don't want to scream at them. You don't want to just state your case. You want to tell your story in a way that they will hear that. So this is who we have, peacemakers. They are apolitical because now listen to this, they seek a peaceful life. So if you're trying to recruit them to vote, if you're trying to recruit them to register to vote, you have to make sure that, okay, I'm dealing with someone who is peaceful. They avoid conflict. So how do I share my story with a peaceful person? They believe in what I believe in. Their values are like my values. Their morals are like my morals. So how do I communicate with this person? They're a peacemaker. The peacemaker, they don't want to touch politics, y'all. A peacemaker, they're more focused on friends and family. A peacemaker is more like, some of us may call them the Pollyannas of life. The peacemakers are like, no, I just don't want to talk about it. It's too stressful. I don't want to get involved with it. So you have to find a way to communicate with them, to let them know that, hey, we need you. We need you to go out and vote. We need you to register to vote, even through your peacefulness. And this is one way you can attract the peaceful people, is say, you know what? Maybe the world can smooth out if you would come and join us and share your point of view. You don't have to talk. You don't have to volunteer. Just register to vote and vote. Peace seekers, they see politics as a bunch of people fighting. My daughter and I had this conversation when she was home not long ago. She says, Mom, people just get into all out arguments. We can be on a Zoom call, or we can be in the office, and they just start arguing. She goes, I don't have time for that. I said, but I still need you to vote. She goes, well, I'm going to vote, but I'm not trying to get into the conversation. Well, okay, but how can you get into the conversation and still share your story? Talk about what's happening. Talk about, being that we have a business, although, she's now working, so she has insurance that direction. But being that we have a business, insurance, when you're looking for insurance, that insurance is high. So I told her, I said, so talk about the insurance factor. Talk about the price we have to pay as business owners, and how that price is so much more expensive than working at a company, or what things, the rules and regulation with business. I said, come at it from a different conversation so that you don't have to argue. These are peace seekers, y'all. These are peace seekers. They just want to get things done. Peace seekers do not see themselves as change makers. They don't see themselves as change makers. And you have to communicate to them that because you are a peace seeker, you are a change maker. Okay, so that's just some ideas. I'm going to give you some numbers in a moment. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this as fast as I can, y'all. Then we have the cynics. These are the people who will opt out because they don't believe in the system anymore. They're like, it's broken, it doesn't work. Like right now, people are looking at the whole Breonna Taylor piece, it's broken, it doesn't work. And after those tapes were not released on yesterday, the recording was not released on yesterday, the judge came out and said, you got until noon on Friday to release these. Again, I asked the question, what are you hiding? What are you trying to erase? That you're not trying to release these when you were told to release them. But even with that, people are saying, see, the system is broken. It's set up. People are looking at the debate, which was a train wreck. The system is broken. The system is broken. So cynics, they don't believe in the system anymore. They just don't believe in it. Cynics feel like they have been let down. Like, for example, I hear this so much, and I'm sure you do too. They'll say stuff like, well, I trusted Obama, but nothing changed. He had a campaign of hope and change we're going to make, but nothing changed. Without looking at, well, there's a reason behind that. Look at who he had in Congress. we have to look at that. And then, but even with that, you don't get into an argument with people. You share your story. They no longer have hope for positive change. And then they tend not to vote, or they vote third party. And they vote third party because they still believe in their civic engagement. They still believe in their civic engagement, their civic duty to vote. So you have the peace seekers and the cynics. And you have to figure out, okay, how do I mobilize these people to do so? And so here's some numbers. And this was a quantitative interview from AOS Communications, and they noticed some demographic differences, and I want to share those with you. With peace seekers, they're more likely to be women. So the best people to have that conversation is in girlfriend circles and conversations when you're talking with your girlfriends, talking about, okay, but let's talk about this. So you look at things, and again, you put those things on the ballot. So for example, we talked about the nurse, Don Wooten, the ICE detention center in Georgia, where the doctors were performing hysterectomy without their permission. That's wrong. So when you're having a conversation with women, that's the kind of conversation you bring up. But you don't bring it up throwing it in their faces. You bring it up sister to sister. Hey, what do you think about, did you hear that article about such and such? Now, before anybody says this is not manipulation, y'all, this is having a conversation. This is educating people. You know, what did you think about that? What can we do collectively as women to make sure that changes? You know, I look at that, and that's, for me, a part of the ballot issue. And that's how I'm going to vote. Are you voting this season? Just in a casual conversation, they may engage in the conversation with you, or they may say, you know, I don't even like to talk about voting because it causes an argument. From there, you say, I understand, but you know, that's on the ballot for me. And you just slip something in just to leave them thinking you're planting a seed. You're planting a seed. Somebody else is going to come around and water that seed. Somebody else is going to come around and water it. And they're more likely to be over age 35. Peace seekers, women, more likely to be over age 35. So just so you know that demographic. So when you're talking voter mobilization, you're thinking about that peace seeker. They tend to be women, and they tend to be over the age of 35. Then you have the cynics, more likely to be men. They're more likely to be men, and they are more likely to be under 35. Okay, this is a great time for mentorship, people. This is a great time for mentorship. Yes, having a casual conversation is vital. Casual, y'all. Casual. And you also have to learn, and I don't know if Brenda Troy is still on here or not, but something she taught me in Sunday school years ago. She's old, y'all. She's old. Yeah, she is. No, I'm joking. We all are. But we're wisdom. But she taught me this years ago. She said sometimes you just have to sit back and not open your mouth and say a word. Just sit back. And I know with the tension in this year, in this season, is hard, but you just have to sit back and say, and be honest, you know, I don't see it the way that you see it, but let me think about that. And truly think about that to see where you are with that. Truly think about that, y'all. So it's a great time for mentorship. It's a great time for sharing. It's a great time to really walk with someone. For many of us, y'all, we have until October the 5th, y'all. October the 5th. Today is October the 1st. October the 5th to register people to vote. I know Pastor Alex is on here from Maryland. That's October the 13th. If there's other states, figure out when that is. Good morning, Pastor Jackie. Figure out when that is. Y'all look at your Secretary of State's office. If you are just joining, I'm giving you nuggets for voter mobilization. So you will want to watch this. So how do you reach them? That's where I want to get to, and I promise you I'm almost done. How do you reach them? How do you reach peace seekers? Well, first, since they are focused on friends and family, frame the voting content of relationships. I'm trying to see what somebody, Demia just said something. Y'all, make sure you're looking at the thread. It's hard for me to look at it and go over my notes too. So make sure you're looking at some of the comments. By the way, yesterday, some of you I was not able to come back through to comment on. Facebook kind of shut me down yesterday. They sent me a note. I went to respond to one of you yesterday. Y'all know how I like to come back on and respond to the comments. Please do not take it personally if I did not respond to you. Facebook limit me on my comments. They said I'm commenting way too much. And I said, but this is my wall. I'm responding to the people on my wall, and you encourage conversation. You encourage a response. And they said, no, that's all. So I believe they opened it back up today because I wasn't being quiet. I kept having my inbox message with them. So if I did not respond to you yesterday, that's the reason why. But please look at the comments, because I saw something Damia wrote. It looks like it's pretty powerful, but then it went up. So how to reach peace seekers. Since they're focused on friends and family for the most part, you want to frame your voting in context of relationship. You have to build relationship. Y'all, this is just like evangelism. It really is. When I was going through, this is evangelism. Evangelism 101. It starts with building a relationship. You're just having a conversation. You don't even talk about voting yet. You just have a conversation. You build from that. You build from that. So you have a relationship. You're just sharing your story. You're having a conversation. You're talking about different articles, but you never insert the word, "Are you registered to vote or vote?" Not initially, but possibly later. Since they avoid politics, get creative. Get very creative. Since they want to avoid, you're going to have to get creative. Again, talk about an article. Talk about the prices of something. Talk about insurance. Talk about something that you will catch their attention. And as you build a relationship, you will be able to identify where that connection is. So you want to connect the dots. How to reach peace seekers? Since sometimes they lack confidence in themselves as change makers, validate them. Boost their confidence. Encourage them. Again, share a story. Share a story about what they're doing and how they're doing it. Since they see themselves as relatively what can I do? I can't do anything. Help them to feel as they are a part of the movement. They may not go out and do a protest march. They may not do that, but figure out something else to get them involved in PTO or PTA or something within the neighborhood. Find something that can help them connect the dots. Use StreamYard to do your lives. Oh, me? Yeah, I'm gonna look at y'all's comments. Yeah. And then since they seek harmony, present voting as unifying. Reinforce their need. Yes, reinforce their need. Since they seek harmony, since peace seekers seek harmony, present voting as something that's going to bring together people. All right, so how to reach cynics. I'm almost done, y'all. I'm sorry. I told y'all this is going to be longer today. How to reach cynics. First of all, since they want real, tangible change, don't just talk about it with them. Invite them to come along with you to do something so that they can see the change. Also, let people know you're not going to get a massive 1,000 people to join the movement. You might, but most people don't. Maybe you're going to have a great 10 people to join the movement. Do that. It's okay, y'all. It's okay to do that. So let them see you take bold action and something that's tangible and something that's making a difference, and talk about it. We've been taught that we're just too boastful if we're talking about our accomplishments or our success. No, that's a lie from the pit of hell. We take that out of context so much. Yes, we're supposed to be humble, but humble ourselves under the word of God and under God. At the same time, you got to share your accomplishments so somebody can see that something is indeed happening. Just the way you frame it, the way you share it. Just share that information. And cynics, since they see the system as difficult to change, show how the system, it can slowly change when people do petitions, when people get involved, when people share their voices. Let them see even small changes. Sometimes we want to see bam, this humongous thing change. Start with the small changes and communicate. This is a small change, but it's a change. This is something different, but it's different. So don't ignore the small, tangible things that are changing as well. Don't wait for the big thing. Look at the small things and share those small things, because so many small things will turn into something larger. Since they believe the system is too corrupt, talk about the fresh start or clean slate. Say, okay, since you think it's too corrupt in some cases, and we all can see it in our faces now it is, we can talk about, well, here's where we can start. That's how you can get the cynics to come around. And then since they see the establishment politicians as a block to change, empathize without feeding into that. Empathize without feeding into that. Oh, thank you, Damia. Empathize, let them know. Because we do look at the establishment. When I keep hearing and I want to say this carefully, when I keep hearing Biden 47 years, I'm like, okay, is that a part of an establishment? But then I look at it differently. I look at it differently because I'm thinking he's been in it long enough to see where it has been and where it's headed and how to come back to someplace neutral. So in indirectly, he's a win. It's like, no, that's good because he's seen it. He sees it now. He's like, oh, we got to come back somewhere in the middle here. So I think that's a good thing. And then since the cynics, since they're cynical about the possible, about what's possible, remind them of the change that has already happened. Let them know about the change. That's how you reach cynics. All right, y'all, that's a lot, wasn't it? That was a whole lot. But that's just a little bit. I took an hour into 20 minutes. So that's a lot. But y'all, that's how you do it again. Many of us only have until October the 5th. There's others of you that have till October the 13th. Mobilize voters. Start having conversations with people for the win. For the win today, y'all. Saks Fifth Avenue. Who knew? Saks Fifth Avenue has launched a register to vote at Saks. Yes, they did. They trying their best to get people back in their store. They also are doing it online. Let me read this press release that came out. This was their PR newswire that came out from New York. It says, in honor of National Voter Registration Day, which was last Tuesday, Saks Fifth Avenue is launching Register to Vote at Saks in its iconic New York flagship stores and online. In partnership with nonpartisan organizations, Headcount and Vote.org, y'all all know about Vote.org, Saks Fifth Avenue is utilizing this platform to foster voter accessibility and rights by providing a seamless experience to prepare for the upcoming election. To further awareness of this important cause, Saks is also dedicating their Fifth Avenue window display to call upon the community to take action and vote while celebrating relevant historic milestones. Saks Fifth Avenue for the win, y'all. All right, y'all, that's all I have. My inspirational message is encourage someone. Please continue to check on people. Again, I cannot tell you how many conversations I had yesterday with women who were triggered by that debate, women who were triggered by bullying or spousal abuse when they were married. I know a couple of children who were abused by their parents who went into a foster care center, who reached out to say, just pray for me. So y'all, that is still affecting people today. All right, y'all going to Saks. I'm going. I don't know how we're going to get there, but I'm going with y'all. We can drive. We can take a plane, train. I'm not taking a plane. We can get there to Saks to go check out the window display. Wouldn't that be a great road trip, people? So anyway, y'all, thank y'all for joining me. Thank you. We have work to do. I guess I got to go to IGTV. I didn't show up over there yesterday. I just couldn't do it. And trust me, I heard about it. I said, y'all can go to YouTube and get it. They didn't like that. So I got to run over to IGTV. I'm going to make it quick, though. But y'all, thank you. If you have more questions about what I share with you, just inbox me, email me, whatever. If you want my email address, I'm going to give you this one. My email address is, send it to GED, which stands for Gail Elizabeth Dudley, GED@MIM Today. That's M as in Mary, M as in Mary, Today, TODAY.org. So GED@MIM, that stands for Ministry in Motion. This is News in Motion, but it comes under Ministry in Motion. MIMtoday.org. And pay attention to what I'm about to tell you all. Be sure to shop at Target today. I'll leave it there. Peace out. I'm Gail Dudley.